everyone. Thank you for joining me. My name is Jenica, Leah, and today I'm sitting down with an absolutely delightful young lady. And I'm really excited to have this conversation because if I tell you guys, I have known this woman for years and we have never actually sat down to discuss our similarities or differences with living with sickle cell. So I'm honoured to introduce you guys to Toya.
Hi.
Can you just let everybody know, just a quick introduction, name, and I think probably your sickle cell status as well?
My name's Toya and I have sickle cell SS.
Okay, so we both have sickle cell SS and I've got SS. I was going to say you didn't always have SS, but you wasn't always aware of your PhD status.
No, I got told all my life I thought I had a C. Then, because my mom's got thalassemia and my dad's got sickle cell trait, both of them, I got told I had sickle cell. Okay. And then it was this year, not too long ago, when I had my operation, I got told I had SS. Like, oh, great. So I've literally had all of them.
Okay, so you had all of them. So now they're saying your SS. Your SS. Okay. And what has your experience been like living with sickle cell? So talk me through kind of like your early years. How old are you now? Are you in your 30s?
Yeah.
You say 30s?
I'm 33.
You're 30s now. You're 33.
Yeah.
So only in your 30s you found that you had
SS. Yes. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Up until 2016, I thought I had a C. 2016 was when they told me, no, you've got sickle cell.
Was there a difference in the way that they treated you when you?
Well, no, because as you already know, I don't like to be admitted unless I really, really have to be, for a few reasons. One, the main one that's in the media now, we don't get treated right. But secondly, I've got 2 children. I don't want them to come onto the ward that we are on normally and see the old people that look very frail and think that's what's going to happen to my mom.
Right.
So I'll stay at home as much as possible. Before this year, last time I was admitted was 2016.
Okay, so what, 5 years?
Yeah.
Okay, that's a long time. Yeah. Okay then, so let's rewind back. Early years, baby Toya. Yeah. What was growing up with sickle cell like? Did you know you had it all the time? Did you find out later on in life?
No, I was born. I was born with a cleft palate. Okay. But I didn't have the cleft lip. Then I developed meningitis at 6 months. That was when they found out that I had sickle cell. When I had the meningitis, I had a few crises, my mum says, and then up until I was about 4, I used to have like blood transfusions, not regularly but frequent. Then
was the blood transfusions to treat just your crises, or was it because of any other?
I'm not too sure.
Okay,
I'm not too sure. But then my stepdad has this medicine that he makes called roots.
You know when they're called roots,
right? Oh, right. And honestly, I didn't have a crisis from age 4 up until I think it was about 10 or 11. No crisis whatsoever. I used to have that daily, and then you get to a certain age and you rebel. And you don't want the horrible tasting medicine.
I was going to say, what was it like? Was it a liquid?
It's a liquid and it was vile. No, it is vile.
What tastes bitter to better?
Basically, yeah, definitely that. So yeah, I had that up until age 11. Then for me, secondary school was the hardest.
Okay.
Just because, my mom wants to wrap me in cotton wool. You've got to put a vest on. You can't do this. You can't do that. Go put more clothes on. I'm coming downstairs in year 10 in some tights that are thin and a short skirt. Yeah, man, I'm going to school like this. I'm going to be like the rest of the girls at school. I walk down the stairs, my mom says to me, right back up. No. Go put some more clothes on. Go put some more clothes on.
How did that make you feel?
I hated myself. I hated myself. Because I was different and I had to be different. And it wasn't like I was different and nobody knew. And then also seeing everybody else being able to do these things and I'm not.
Did those around you, so like you said you was in secondary school, did your friends or like circles that you were with, did they know about your sickle cell?
No clue.
Okay, so
I didn't tell them up until I had a crisis in school and the ambulance came for me. And then everyone knew. Everyone knew. And then there was like, what? Sickle cell? And then my science teacher did a whole lesson on it to teach my form.
Do you think you had a good understanding of sickle cell at that point?
No, I didn't. Because I feel like if I did, I wouldn't have hated myself.
Okay.
If and on my mom's side, my dad's side, my stepdad's side, I am the only one with full-blown sickle cell. So I had nobody to be like, oh, like now we can feel the same thing. I didn't have that at all. And then also no one at school had it either. So I was literally on my own. Right. So it was really hard. But I think if I had somebody there, then I would have looked at myself differently. Does that make sense?
That makes complete sense. Because I feel like it's the same, it's that isolation. Like, I just want to keep it to myself because I don't know how to speak about it. I don't know how to explain it. Exactly. I don't even know what it is. So,
I'll keep quiet.
Yeah. I mean,
that's literally what I did.
So, okay, you wanted to rebel, but mom is still trying to monitor you. So, when did you actually get to that point of, okay, I've got my own independence, I want to take control of my own mission? Okay. I was going to say, did you even get there? Some people,
to be fair, college wasn't too bad. I still had quite a bit of crises. I did study dance at college, and I had quite a few. While we're doing the routines, I'm breaking. Okay, Miss Emily crisis. Which again was horrible because again nobody in the whole dance department knew what sickle cell was or had it. But it wasn't so bad because I had more of an understanding, so I could actually tell people, oh, this is what it is, and this is the things that can cause a crisis. But then sometimes there's nothing that can cause a crisis. You can just come when it wants to. Sally, I call her Sally. Okay. So yeah, it was hard, but not as hard as school.
So do you think that school was harder because you tried to kind of keep it quiet?
Yeah.
So we're saying that it's easier to kind of deal with it if you can share ultimately kind of what.
In my experience,
I think I agree with that as well. Okay, so college now, just you. You had I know you said you do dance. You actually had a passion for dance. You went on to do as this girl can okay. You can do all of that. So how did, talk me through how you kind of still had this passion for dance and was very, very good at it. So talented.
Thank you.
But have this condition that, Sally, as you call it, that just wants to come and interfere with everything.
Yeah. Well, my mum has always said from I could walk, I've always danced. Okay. From I was younger, when you're younger and they say what you want to be when you grow older, I've always said I want to be a dance teacher. And when I was 16 and I just finished school, I started my dance school. And dance for me, I did go to dance classes throughout my school years. Dance for me is a form of release. It always has been. So when I'm annoyed about Sally, sickle cell Sally as I call her, I'll go and do a routine and then I won't feel as bad because as we know, when you're stressed and you're angry, she wants to come and say hi. That's just not okay for me.
So when you say you would, if you were stressed or Sally decided to come pay you a visit, how did that work if it was a bad crisis and you want to dance because it helped you to kind of,
I learned how to verbally teach.
Right.
Yeah, okay. I learned how to verbally teach and then I danced through my students, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So I would be sitting here like now and I'd be taking a class, but I'd be doing the arms and if I can do the legs or whatever, I do the legs, but mainly it's just verbal. But that for me, seeing the kids doing my routine helped me release, even though I wasn't physically doing it properly. But again, with all my dancers, they know every night, about 1,000 dancers over the years. All of them know. All of them know what sickle cell is. I never hid it from them. They've seen me in my wheelchair. They've seen me in my crutches. They've seen me in my walking stick. And I make sure I make a point to tell all the parents as well when I get a new dancer that this is me.
Yeah.
And I need the kids to see that, because I need them to see that no matter what is going on in your life, push through. Because if I can do it, they surely can.
100%.
Do you know what I mean?
Did you feel was there any kind of stigma around that, or did any of the parents think, how is this girl going to teach a dance class? And did you get any of that?
None. Every parent, well, dance mum as I call them, they've all literally told me how strong I am and how much of an inspiration I am to them and their children, and that they wish nothing but the best for me and everything. I've never had no one say, well, you shouldn't be doing this. Mm-hmm. No, not one over the years. That's 17 years.
That is amazing. So you said you never had anyone say you shouldn't be doing this.
No.
Does that include your healthcare professionals in that team? Do they have anything to say? Because obviously we've spoke about your journey up until that stage and your passion for dancing and things like that. And me knowing myself from my own experiences, there are a lot of things that your doctors or your healthcare team will probably say, no, maybe it's best that you don't do this. Or maybe they don't give positive encouragement to acting. Yeah. So how was that for you?
It was hard, but again, I call me a little rebel, because it's just like, I'm doing it. Yeah. Because again, it's the only thing that I'm finding a release from. And with sickle cell, you need some form of release, whether it's writing, whether it's gym, anything, you need some form of release for your own mind. I have been told a number of times I need to stop dancing. Nope, sorry. I have been told I shouldn't have any kids after I had my first one. I got told I wasn't going to have any kids before my first one. I couldn't do that, but I had two.
You was actually told that you couldn't have?
Yeah. Yeah.
Was you told that because you've got sickle cell? Was that just kind of like a part of what you learned about sickle cell? Or
do you know what? To be honest, I'm not too sure what it was. Whether it was the fact that they didn't want me to have another child, because possibly that child could have it if I didn't check my partner, or it was just because of my health reasons. But again, none of my kids were planned, but I'm glad that I have them.
Okay. Were you healthy? So were you healthy when you was first pregnant?
With my son, I wasn't. I had a mini stroke while I had him.
Is your son first?
Yeah, it's my first. My sickle cell was doing really. I was in hospital for like about 2 months.
Was that prior to, or was that pregnancy?
The pregnancy. Okay. And then my daughter, I had no crisis whatsoever. No, I was perfectly fine.
And did you check? How did you, in terms of like being in a relationship, okay, you're now pregnant, did you know the status of your partners? Okay.
I didn't.
Did that not scare you at all? Was it something?
To be honest, I was young when I had my son. I was 19. Okay. So it wasn't at the forefront of my mind when it should have been. And thank God their dad is AA. Okay. So they've just got the trade.
Did you realise the importance of probably having that conversation at the age? Was it something that you should, but you didn't want to, or was it something that was just completely oblivious?
To be fair, I was oblivious to having that conversation of, do you have sickle cell trait? Do you think that you have it? Mm-hmm. But regarding sickle cell, he knew all about it. As soon as I told him I had sickle cell, he went and did his own research before we were even an item. And he came back to tell me things I didn't even know about sickle cell. So we didn't have that conversation whether he had it or not, which we should have. But every other conversation we could have.
And was he supportive?
Yeah.
Was it
up to today? And we're not together anymore. He is supportive. Especially when it comes to health, like, he knows what to do, when to do it, where to do it, how to, everything. Everything.
There's hope for me.
No, seriously, there is. It was so, we was together for 14 years, and it was, obviously, every relationship has problems, but when it came to my health, there was no problem whatsoever.
That's so beautiful.
Yeah.
That's so beautiful. Okay, so you've got kids, you're all grown now. You're a dancer,
Yeah.
passionate dancer,
Yeah.
sometimes not able to physically do it, but you verbally do this.
Yeah.
And then along with sickle cell, I don't want to say unfortunately, but you've been kind of given a long list of other complications as well and health problems that you've had to deal with. I know of some of them, but can we just get like a breakdown?
Okay, so I have AVN, vascular necrosis of both hips.
Okay, so for those of you that don't know, vascular necrosis is a complication of sickle cell.
Yeah.
And it basically is when there's not enough oxygen getting to your hip bones. As a result of that, your bones die and will eventually collapse. Now, we're just going to stick a pin there because I want to talk about this one because I know that I remember seeing you at one of my very first appointments. So I also was diagnosed with AVN when I was about 17. They diagnosed me, didn't know what it was, didn't care about it, whatever, it's fine. And then I remember when I started to get really, really bad pains and I was just like, no, this has to get sorted. And I can remember seeing you at one of my appointments. Now this is, we're talking 7 years ago almost. And I had my hip replacement probably a couple of months after seeing you. Yeah. And you still only up to a couple of weeks.
May 25th of May to be precise.
Okay, so I seen you I had my hip replacement in 2014. Mm-hmm. So I seen you at the beginning of 2014 and I was thinking, I'm not that good. Was you
I wasn't in a wheelchair yet.
Okay. But you were still...
Yeah, I had a walking stick. Yeah.
And I remember thinking, I remember you said, you still have it.
I remember having talked with you on Snapchat.
Yeah.
Talking about, okay, so give me the rundown on this.
I know what it was. I know you asked me about the scar and everything. And you send me pictures.
I need to know what's going on. How's it going to be? Yeah, and I didn't have, I waited 10 years.
For years later, so 10 years.
10 years I waited.
Why did it take so long?
I couldn't tell you. I personally think it's the money. Okay. And also the fact that I was so active. So,
do you think that because you were active, it made them feel like, oh, it can't be that bad?
Yes, 100%, 1000%. I was diagnosed at 23. I was diagnosed at stage 1 on my left, stage 4 on my right, so which is the final stage.
The right hip needed to be done
straight away, yeah.
And there's still 10 years.
Yeah, 10 years. He said, oh, we'll see how you are when you're 25. Okay, cool. Came to 25. Oh, let's see how you get till you're 30. Okay, wait till I was 30. And then it just got to a point where it started to mess with my depression, my anxiety. I was in a wheelchair. I could no longer dance. I had to close my school. I couldn't walk around the house. My hip was dislocating like every day. Couldn't sleep. Imagine waking up and your legs dislocated. Oh my gosh. Imagine the pain. I was on over a gram of morphine. It was just a lot. And thank God to my consultant, she was the one that pushed for the bone consultant to actually sort it out. I've got a date. It was April the 12th. And then guess what came along? COVID.
Good old Rona.
She came and she said, no, but you ain't having that operation. So I had to wait another year. And then I got it done this year. Okay. And that was just...
Has it helped? Like, can you
I don't
notice the difference? Do you notice a difference?
To be fair, yeah. I do notice a difference for the pain. Mm-hmm. But I'm still on crutches. And we're on, 5 months. But that's because I had so many complications on the actual operation.
So, picking back up to the list of complications. Yes. So, you've got AVN, which we've talked about.
I've got PCOS, please. Polycystic ovaries.
Okay.
I have stomach ulcers.
Okay.
From the medication.
So the ulcers are from the medication.
over the years.
and stuff over the years.
From diclofenac to be precise. Did you used to take that?
I stopped taking it.
Yeah, lucky for you.
Just because of the side effect.
Yeah, it was a lot, wasn't it? But yeah, from that, I also suffer with asthma.
Okay.
I can't even think of what else. I've got autoimmune hemolytic anemia. That's another blood disorder.
Was that just something you had as well that you was born with, or is that related to sickle cell?
Wow. It's so rare that they don't actually know how it comes about.
Well, what does it
do? Think. Okay, so I am. If I was to have any form of infection, my body creates antibodies to kill the infection, but instead of killing the infection, it tries to kill itself. So it breaks all my blood down and tries to stop all my organs and stuff. So I have no immune system. I can't have any cold or nothing. Yeah, nothing whatsoever. I've been doing that from 2006, literally.
Don't you think that's mad though? Like when the pandemic is coming
everyone's
out,
like,
be clean. And I'm like, I've been really clean.
Right?
It's just crazy.
Literally.
Okay, so that's all of this on top of all the issues with sickle cell.
Yeah.
And there's another thing that you mentioned that I really want to touch on, which is you're on a no blood list.
Yeah.
Now, I know for probably a lot of people that know a little bit about sickle cell, there's also, they understand that, one of the treatments for sickle cell is receiving blood transfusions or blood exchanges to kind of help us be able to live day-to-day life. And there's also a need for donors. And there's this, we'll probably go into more detail about this, but the need for more Black donors is there because we need to have as close matched blood as possible in order to not have any reactions to the blood. And if you do have a reaction to the blood, one of the most, I would say, like serious kind of issues with that is the fact that you can never receive blood again.
That's me.
Talk me through that?
Okay.
Like, how did that happen? What does that mean for you?
So the first time it happened was 2016. As you know, every time we have any operation, we have to have an exchange transfusion. I had that exchange transfusion on the Tuesday. I had my operation on the Friday in February. Everything else went perfectly fine. Left the hospital, went home, recovered perfectly fine. And then March, I had the injection, a steroid injection into my hip. And then I went home and went to sleep, woke up, and I was passing out. I was falling over. I was dizzy. I was sleeping all the time. I was yellow as a Simpson. Like, it was just a lot. Heart palpitations. I was rushed into hospital, and then they gave me some blood because they found out my hemoglobin dropped down to 39.
Wow. And obviously the treatment for that was the blood.
Right, so they gave me the blood. Perfect. But every time they was giving me the blood, it was just being broken down. And then they decided...
When you say broken down, sorry, so what was happening with every time they gave me blood? What was actually going on?
So basically my antibodies from... This is the autoimmune disease.
Okay.
So my antibodies did not like the blood. I was just breaking it down. So, yeah. And attacking my organs. So, in order to reset, I had to be on a harsh course of steroids. And I had 2 IV bags of steroids, and then I was on 10 steroids a day, 10 tablets a day for 2 months. I went from 6 stone to... No, I was 7 stone to 12 and a half stone in 3.5 weeks. Because of the steroids. Yeah.
So other than the weight, what else?
I developed severe depression. I covered all the mirrors in my house because I didn't like the look of me. I developed agriphobia because I didn't like to go out. Because when I did go out, I remember the one time I went out to go and collect the kids from school and nobody in the school gates knew who helping was. No one knew who I was. So I only went out just to go to doctor's appointments and hospital appointments. Other than that, I literally used to wake up in the morning, get the kids ready for school. My mum moved in with me as well because I could hardly do anything. And I had a chair right outside my back door, and I literally sat on that chair all day just staring into the trees for like 3 months because I hated myself, hated the look of me. I just didn't understand why this was happening to me. And then I started to get a bit better in the August.
Was that because you stopped?
Yeah.
You was able to stop taking steroids?
Yeah, they had to wean me off them.
So they took you off the steroids, and then would you say that since then, so now you can no longer receive blood?
No, I only got told I couldn't receive blood this year.
Oh, so all of that happened, but they still didn't know that it was to do.
They said that they thought it was a reaction to the exchange,
Right.
but because it was months later, I had that reaction in April. There was like, could it be? Could it not be? We're not sure. So we don't really want to pin it on that. Mm-hmm. So then that was literally that. And then I haven't had an exchange transfusion until this year when I had my hip surgery. So I had that. I had my exchange. It's normal. Well, that didn't go well because, again, my body's not used to having an exchange anyway. My calcium dropped really low. So I was there literally from about 12 till, I didn't go home till about 7 o'clock.
And usually, so an exchange can, on a good day, it can take about 2 hours.
Yeah.
An exchange done.
Yeah.
So you was there for pretty much the whole day.
The whole day. I went home, I felt okay. The next couple of days I was fine. And then, because I now know the signs of a relapse from my autoimmune disease, the day of my operation, I thought, my urine's a bit dark. Let's pray I'm not.
Something's not right.
Yeah, right? But I thought, you might be thinking too deep into it. Just chill, just relax. But bearing in mind as well, I was on nil by mouth. I couldn't even have no drink. So I was dehydrated. So I thought maybe it's down to dehydrated because that was the only symptom I had. I went to hospital, started to get the heart palpitations. Then I went and did a urine sample again. And then there was like, I seen it and it got darker from when I was at home. So I was like, yeah, I'm definitely relapsing. Definitely. Went and told the lady, but they was rushing her down because we've got sickle cell. We should be first priority. And because of that, I got there at 7:30. By 8:15, I was in the theatre. 45 minutes, it was just right down. So she was rushing to admit me and do all her stuff. So when I was trying to explain to her, I think I'm relapsing, she's like, no, it's fine, you're just dehydrated. And then she went back to doing what she was doing. And I'm like, no, but, and then the surgeon came and he was doing that. And I was like, I'm trying to tell people, but they're so rushing and doing everything. No one actually paid attention. But it did so happen that I was relapsing quite bad. At a rapid rate. I had my blood test done before operation and it was 64. During operation, just before the end of the operation, they did it again and it went down to 51. Yeah. And then when I was on the ward, they put me on ICU. And then it had gone down to 35, I think it was. Yeah. And then it was just like, from that, you ain't having no blood. You can't have no blood. And then I had all these things. I don't remember half of it.
So you had your surgery, which should have been kind of like a straightforward process. But because of the relapse that was happening,
it wasn't straightforward. I didn't get to use my hip till day 8. I had to stay at a 45-degree angle for 8 days. I wasn't allowed to go down. I wasn't allowed to go. I had an IVIG infusion, which is basically to help my body make red blood cells.
Okay. I was going to ask if you know what do they do?
It was I had the IVIG infusion, I had an iron infusion, and I also had, I think they're called EPO. I'm still learning all the drugs. It's an injection. I think it's called EPO. And I had 2 of those.
And all of this to try and boost back up your
and get my body to basically reset. because they couldn't give me the steroids that they normally would because I had a fresh wound that could cause an infection. So it was just like, my consultant was just like, we had 17 doctors working and figuring out what they could do day and night so that I wouldn't die, because I was very close to dying.
How does that make you feel, like knowing that, okay, you've been waiting so long for this surgery, first of all, so that's kind of like, you want to have the surgery, you don't want anything to go wrong, but then also you knowing deep down that, you know what, these are all the signs of me kind of having a relapse and no one listening to you. If you could change anything that happened, like, you know, what would you have stopped? Would you have liked someone to listen to you so that they could have stopped that process, to pay attention more? Would you
say it's a bit? I don't know. I actually, honestly, I don't know. Just because I was in so much pain before, and if they had listened to me, I wouldn't have had my operation. I wouldn't have had it up to today, and then I'd be in pain. I'd be in my wheelchair. I'm 30. I know I'm old, but I'm not that old. Do you know what I mean? So I want to be able to do what I want to do. I was scared to go down the stairs in the house because I'm going to be in pain. I hated that feeling. So if I was to go back, I don't think I'd change anything about it just because of that. And I know that sounds wild, but this is my new beginning. It's like a new lease of life.
You give me shivers, because I can remember when I had mine and I was just like, if this goes to plan, I'm going to do, like, you know,
right?
Like, I'm getting a second chance.
I'm like, I'm going to buy a bike. I'm going to go bike. I'm going to kids. I'm going to walk down the hill. I'm going to walk around the block. I'm going to walk the kids to the shop.
And for some people that don't understand, you know, for people that you don't know what you've got until it's gone.
Literally.
Just a simple thing like, I can't wait to jog, or I can't wait to run, or I can't
wait to walk around the house without no pain.
Can't wait to not be in pain. How about that?
Exactly. Do you know what I mean? It's hard, which is why I said I don't know whether I would change it. I'm kind of, another part of me is kind of glad that I did relapse then, because there isn't enough research on my autoimmune disease. So now, the hospital is using my case to teach other hematologists so that they learn. It's a shame that it had to be me, but I don't care. At least somebody else who maybe has that in the next time will get treated better, and they will know, oh, this works and that works.
Do you feel any kind of, how am I going to word this? Do you feel like, I know you said that obviously they're now using yourself as a case. Do you in any way sometimes feel like there's just not enough? Like, why does it have to take me to have to go through something for them to then think, oh, maybe this is something we should pay attention to for future? Like, do you sometimes feel like, why don't they already know this stuff? Why?
Part of me does, but then part of me doesn't, because the body is an amazing thing. Anything can happen, and you know, everyone's different on a normal day, let alone every sickler is different. So it's going to have to take one of us to learn. And I'm just happy that they can learn from me and they actually saved me. Do you know what I mean? Rather than I died and then they did it. Do you know what I mean? At least they can say they didn't know how to deal with these. And I was on the verge of dying, but they did all they could and saved my life, and now they can do that for others, if you get what I mean. So, no, in a sense, no. Just because of that fact.
It's really cool. And I love the way that you just kind of, you have to see everything from like a positive lens, through a positive lens, because this is just the reality anyway. So it's just about, okay, accepting the fact that you survived. And now they can use whatever they learned through that process to help.
That's what the nurses were saying. There was when I was in my leg, my operation, they was just like, I can't believe that you're just so strong and just so positive. I said, yeah, I'll be fine. Like from the day I come out of that operation, I was like, yeah, guys, don't worry about it.
Calm down.
Just chill. I'll be good. I know my heart rate's 160, but I'll be fine. I promise you, I'll be out. Spent my birthday in there, but it's what it is. I'm living to tell my tale.
Do you think that your mindset, you mentioned like you've gone through, obviously because of all the medication, and of course, obviously as well, just generally living with everything that you have and going through everything that you have. Do you think that your like mental well-being is in a good place? Like, how do you stay positive? Do you have support with that? Do you feel like you would want to have more support with that?
To be honest, I do believe that sicklers need more support mentally. 1000%. I don't think there's enough. I only just started having therapy in July.
So
July, all of that I did on my own. I take antidepressants. Didn't want to take them in the beginning. But it just turned out that maybe that's the best thing for me. And they've helped. Again, the amount of tablets that I take, I don't want to take any more tablets. Exactly. Yeah. So I just believe that I feel like if I had the therapy or the access to somebody supporting me that is trained in mental health, I believe that I wouldn't have hated myself so much from school, to be honest. The fact that I've had to learn to do it myself, and I know a lot of sicklers that have had to do that. I find that it's just mind-boggling. Why do we not have the support? The amount that we go through, we should have a number of psychologists there for us to fall back on. A number of them.
What would you say is one thing that you would like to change from kind of all of your experiences and knowing what, other people that live with sickle cell go through? If you could kind of like see something positive come from everything that you've had to go through, and also knowing that like we're still a part of the process. It's such a under-researched condition that unfortunately we are kind of like the guinea pigs. The thing that happen is all a part of the research and the training. Yeah. What positive would you say you kind of want to think of?
I would love, for me mainly, it's the healthcare. I would love to change the healthcare. I'm talking A&E, I'm talking midwives, I'm talking the hematologists, all of it, everything that we have to go through, not even just the hematologists, all the doctors. I feel like all doctors should have a baseline of what the condition is. I don't expect you to know everything. I don't. But you need to know the baseline of what it is and how to help us when we need the help. And I'm not just talking physical. I'm talking mental. I'm talking emotional. All of it. Because we don't have that. And that's ridiculous. Like, as you said, we are the guinea pigs, but we don't get nothing. Do you know what I mean? It's, this new drug, like today, we've got a new drug that's come out. Yeah. Okay, cool, new drug, great. But all we get is that drug. We're going to get that drug now. Oh, it might work for you, might not work for you.
And then in a couple of years' time, they'll then have more list of side effects, more list of whatever, based off of us again.
To say, I've got this now, I've got that now. So I do believe all doctors, all nurses, A&E, everyone should know about it. Everyone. Awareness is key. And that's my motto. Awareness is key.
Do you have any questions for myself?
How do you deal with it? Because you're a very private person.
I actually see, but I'm all out there. You are.
But when it comes to your sickle cell, people know you have it, but no one knows how you deal with it.
I think, like you, I would say it's a mindset thing. And even though I've shared as well that I didn't have that kind of support from like a therapist or anything, probably I've only had it for a year. I've been lucky enough to have the right people around me. Yeah. So, like my mom, she is the most positive person ever, and it's almost like having a therapist as a mother. Yeah. She just helps me to think about things, helps me to just break things down, and understands that sometimes I don't want to talk about it. Like there's days where I'm just like, nobody talk to me. Yeah. And just being able to voice and communicate those things, but also accepting that it's okay. I think that's probably my biggest coping mechanism, because I do so much. I want to do so much. I'm really hard on myself. I know that I am. So sometimes just having a break and saying, you know what, Jen, today it's all right. Today I don't do nothing. In fact, I'll do nothing for the next week or 2 or 3, whatever. It's going to be fine. And just allowing myself to just be in the moment. However I'm feeling today is okay. And tomorrow, hopefully it will be different. I always say to myself, it's okay not to be okay. It's just not okay to stay there.
Yeah, 100%.
So I give myself times. If I feel like it's going on a bit too long, which is what I noticed over kind of like a year ago, which is when I actually sat down and said, you know what, I need help. I need to talk to somebody else that's not my mom, not my friends, nobody that knows me. Someone that I can just spill all my baggage.
No judgment.
No judgment, no nothing. And I don't have to also think about how they're going to feel after me as well. So
that's the main thing though, isn't it? You want to release to your family members and your friends, but you don't want to make them feel bad or worry them.
Because that doesn't then help.
Exactly.
It's kind of like a vicious cycle.
Yeah.
So definitely that support, but I would say mindset, like just trying to, we can't say positive all the time, and I'm aware of that. I can't just sit in my room and be like, I am happy. I am well. No, that's not the way.
Today I'm not happy.
No,
today I am not well.
I'm not.
Yeah.
But tomorrow might be a better day. So let's just be okay and accept how I'm feeling today. And you know, tomorrow's another day.
Yeah, that's something I struggle with, especially as being a parent as well. That is a lot. It's a lot.
How do you manage with like children, being a mom and all these things?
Well, they're older now. They're 12 and 13. They've known about sickle cell properly since they were like 5, I'd say. They've taught all their school teachers what it is, their classmates. They are absolutely amazing. Absolutely amazing. When I'm in crisis, right, Mom, I've ran you a bath, come on.
They know.
Yeah, I've ran you a bath. I've plugged in your heat pad. It's ready when you come out of the bath. Your tablets are there. Got timers on their phones, timers on my phones for 4 hours. They understand so much. But it's so good, but it also makes me feel so guilty because they have to live this life. And it's not a normal. But then they're ahead of their peers. Because my kids can go and I can say, there's chicken in the freezer, go and cook the dinner. And they will do it. They will cook for me and them. At the age of 13 and 12, I don't know many. Rice and peas on a Sunday. 13 and 12.
I'm going to do this.
Do you know?
Well, that's just testament to you as a parent.
Yeah, I suppose.
Support system as well that you have.
Yeah. It's still hard accepting that, especially with this year being admitted twice, having COVID and all of that stuff. This year has been the most that I've been away from them. So I had my hip done, I was in for 2 weeks. And then I caught COVID and then had sepsis, and then my autoimmune disease started to play up as well. And then got a crisis. So I was in hospital the last time, right? I was in the hospital last time for 3 weeks. I've never been without my kids for 3 weeks. Never. But they're stronger for me, and that's what I try to remember and not think of, the other little devil. You feel guilty and they shouldn't be doing this. And look what you've done, kind of thing. And it's hard battling with it. Really, really, really hard. Especially as they don't have sickle either. So when they were younger, I used to do everything I did. They did. So when I'm wearing 2 pairs of trousers, they're wearing 2 pairs of trousers. So their dad was like, they haven't got sickle.
They're all right.
You don't need to do that. You don't need to do that. It's just hard mentally. I just have to remember that they are better, and although they are more grown than they should be, them being more grown is actually benefiting them in the long run. I have to remind myself of that 7-8 times a day. Because it's hard, because you just want them to be able to be kids, but because I'm so ill, they can't. That's the part that's as you can hear my voice starting to mellow. But yeah, that's the hard part.
Thank you so much for sitting down with me today
No
and sharing your journey.
Yes, thank you for having me.
It's been beautiful. I still feel like there's so much more that we're going to do. We might have to plan a coffee.
Yeah,
and
fine.
see.
Yeah, definitely.
But thank you.